Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the four and a half of you who watch this. So rear spar video. Pretty short one, actually, just because, not that it's really short in time, it's just there's not a lot of material, so I sped up a lot of the video, especially right at the end, but we'll get to that in a second. You start off making the aileron hinge brackets, and there is an SB for this one. It's kind of confusing, so I did my best to try and help out all four and a half of you. And so anyways, here's the SB part. And you'll notice the start for new construction is on step 20, and if you look at the angle there, it's missing a little tab. I have these sheets up just so you can see the check marks and the X's. The X's mean it doesn't apply because it's a new build. Check marks means that's a step that I did. So you guys can just pause that stuff, I figured. Anyways, here's the SB. Bottom left, figure 2, you don't do that. You do the instructions sent with the plans. The other thing I wanted to point out in this, figure 3, the W1013A, that middle bracket, that I messed up because I tried to push that bearing into that hole and it wouldn't go. And I thought, oh, okay, so there's a whole bunch of primer in there. I'll just sand it out. Well, turns out the next step is pressing that bearing in with a vise. So don't do what I did and sand out that middle bracket hole for the bearing. The Vans gave me some options of how to fix that. It was a $400 part, so I just reordered it and waited for it to come in. It's not worth the trying to fix it part, in my opinion. And I was told they don't want that rotating inside that bracket, so that's why it's pressed in. So as soon as I learned that, it was game over. Just time to reorder a new part. I don't have, besides those tidbits, that's probably the best information I've got on rear spars and kind of the points where it's hard to keep track of what it is that you're supposed to be doing and whatnot. There is a point where it says to tape over holes that are going to be used for it's like a aileron gap fairing and a flap gap fairing. Don't do what I did and tape over those holes and then not realize that you've not taken the tape off when you go to put on the aileron brackets. I had to completely take off an aileron bracket, and luckily I was able to get it off without damaging any of the holes, or else I would have just reordered some more parts. But I was very, very meticulous in taking off the aileron bracket, and it was the SB bracket, so there were 4 parts to take off, and I just carefully drilled the heads off, popped off that bracket, and then I drilled the shank out up to the spar, got it off the spar, and then I drilled out the shank on the 2 angle brackets behind it, and then popped it off of those. And I never went as far as the actual material of the spar or the brackets, so that was lucky. But here coming up shortly, you'll see me taking that off. At this stage here, everything's primed up. I'm just trying to figure out how things fit together. And then I had to go to my security camera because my other camera, once again, stopped working without any notification. So I sped up this portion really fast because eventually I'm going to be off camera up there at the top, and it has no value to anybody. Here's the very important part where you're reaming out the holes. My son was great in helping me keep the spar level as I reamed out the two holes. It says specifically pay very special attention that you're 90 degrees to the drill press. I did my absolute best trying to pay as much attention to that as I could. Here's you can kind of see the two brackets on the back side of that aileron bracket. They're kind of a pain. There's only really one bucking bar that was going to fit in there. And then as far as riveting the rear spar onto the main ribs, I was able to squeeze everything. I put the 426 heads on the ribs, and the tails were sticking out, which was opposite to what I did to the brackets of the main spar. But, 426, they can go either way. It really doesn't matter. Oh, here, right there. Put the tool right through my thumb, down to the freaking bone. And I'll come back with a different shirt because that one is soon to have blood all over it. Super fun. Anyways, so I put the round heads on the main spars and had the tail sticking out, which was opposite to the brackets. And I was able to squeeze every single one of those, except for one at the aileron brackets. And you'll see right at the end of this video, both wings go down. Pretty much, that wasn't quite it, but coming up. And that's where I had to shoot one rivet on each wing right by the aileron brackets. Anyways, hope this helps somebody. See everybody in the next video.